That would explain things. Wow, I'm glad you were there to tell me here that the mic was button was muted. I have to basically do my whole analysis on Ethereum, Bitcoin all over again here. Yikes. Okay. um, yeah. Thank you for letting me know here that my mic button was muted. That kind of like ruins the live stream there for some people there. Let's see. What are we? We're like, how many minutes are we into this live stream? About 10 minutes in. Jeez. Okay. But some of that was the music playing. All right, let's get back into my analysis here on Ethereum. I'm going to summarize this analysis here. And Jake was asking me, you know, do I like what I see? You know, I as long as we go sideways, we're going to be cautiously optimistic and bullish on Ethereum. But the downside targets for Ethereum is the 100-day moving average is sitting right where the 0.618 level is at $2,300. And then if that doesn't hold support, then we have the 50-day moving average holding us support at $2,100. And you also got the 0.5 retracement on the daily time frame saying that we could get support at that level. And then if we are going to be bullish on Ethereum, you know, it looks like the 1618 says that we could see a $3,800 Ethereum, but I did a I did a bull trend here. If we were to, you know, if we were to just count this as a bull flag for Ethereum, then what we have here is we have the measured move. This is the bull flag, right? The flagpole, and the measured move is the flagpole, and it says that we could see a $3,500 Ethereum, that blue number right there. Okay. Now, let me get into a Bitcoin real quick here because apparently my mic was muted this time, and that kind of sucks. So that means I have to look at Bitcoin again one more time. So Bitcoin's currently trading at 104,694. And what I was saying in my previous analysis here is that we are making higher lows here on the daily time frame, so we can be cautiously bullish and optimistic about Bitcoin, pending the events that are going on in the Middle East, pending what the Federal Reserve decides to do tomorrow and their Federal Reserve meeting. We should be getting some answers around like 2:30 East Coast time tomorrow afternoon. But we are making higher lows here. However, we are making lower highs, and that's creating like almost a symmetrical triangle. I don't have to draw it out for you, but I'm just going to say that this is creating, we're basically range bound anywhere between $102,000 to $108,000 here on Bitcoin. And if we lose the $102,000 level, specifically if we even lose the $100,300 level, which is where we came down on June 5th here, then yeah, there's going to be some probably some support here on the 200-day moving average where this red line is at $95,700 Bitcoin. And you also got the 100-day and the 50-day in that area as well. So this is my purple buy zone here. You should be, if you're trying to buy some more Bitcoin at cheaper prices, you should be putting your buy orders in between $93,000 and $97,000 Bitcoin. We could drop down to that level if events in the Middle East causes us to drop in the markets here, if the Federal Reserve causes us to drop in the markets here, if the trade deals don't come into fruition and we actually have to raise tariffs on these countries in July, then yeah, this is probably going to cause the price of Bitcoin to go down briefly into this buy zone that I'm eyeballing right now at $90,000 Bitcoin for the most part. Yeah. You know, I'm pretty good, you know, trying to get that mic on and off when I need to, but I messed up. I guess I was in a rush today. But yeah, here I am. You guys are able to hear me. And if you guys have any requests, by all means, go ahead and shoot away. Let me know what crypto you want me to take a look at. I looked at Ethereum because I was in a day trade with Ethereum. I'm also trading gold. Let's take a look at the price of gold because, you know, the events in the Middle East is going to affect what the price of gold is doing right now. And we still see that, you know, we talked about gold yesterday, I think, but we'll talk about it again. Gold is currently at $3,393. And gold is in this ascending triangle. Some people might even call it a slight rising wedge. An ascending triangle is bullish, and a rising wedge would be considered bullish up until it breaks down, and then it becomes bearish. Okay, but I think gold is consolidating right now, and we might see, you know, $3,500 gold all over again in the future here. But it looks like we're gonna finally get some resolution in July, right around like 4th of July. We'll probably see the fireworks on gold, and we're either gonna drop down, right, and probably get supported on this 50-day moving average, which is sitting at $3,100 currently, or we might get explosive move up to the upside. And I think the explosive move to the upside on gold will happen if we get those tariffs actually going through and devastating the economies all around the world, as Donald Trump tries to force these countries to come to the table and give us a good deal with the United States. We might see gold go up to higher prices, and we might see gold come up to this 1618 at $3,700 is what I'm eyeballing here on the charts. I mean, I can even do a little bit of trend analysis here. If we're going to count this as like a bull flag, right? This is the flagpole, and this is the ascending triangle of the flag that we're in. You know, this measure move, if we break out near like $3,400 gold, this measure move says that we could see like gold at 3,920 bucks. That blue number right there. Yeah, John, I gotta get to that fib video. I know I said I was gonna try to do it this weekend, but I want to make sure I got a really good, solid video for you guys. And I don't really want to rush into it. I want to make sure I'm able to explain the levels as best as I can here. I might have to take a break from live streaming and just actually do a day where I just devote it towards making that Fibonacci video. I might even do that tomorrow, to be honest with you. Appreciate you making that request. You letting me know about that lets me know that you and other people are waiting on that video to come out. So I appreciate you making that request, because that lets me know that you guys actually care about these videos and you want them to come out. All right, and I see that Tufail just started following me here on TikTok. I appreciate the follow here on TikTok. I am live streaming on TikTok and YouTube right now, and I'm trying to get to your requests here, but I appreciate you guys hitting that follow button if you're new to the Meet Damien channel here, and also hitting that subscribe button if you're new to the Meet Damien YouTube channel. Mustafi says, sell! Okay, what are we selling, and how much do we sell? You can't just say sell. You gotta let me know what do we need to sell, and how much of it should we sell. Should I do some leverage trading? Oh, Porky's in the chat on TikTok. We bullish, we bearish, our aliens here. I think I could be bullish here on the price of gold. Gold is making a nice ascending triangle here. It looks like it wants to consolidate a little bit further, but looks like we could get an explosive move on gold to like $3,800, just shy of $4,000 here. John wants to take a look at the ZBCN. I can do that for you. And I really don't know much about ZBCN. Could you give me an analysis? Tell me what ZBCN does and what it's trying to accomplish. Is it decentralized finance? Is it a layer 1 coin? Just give me an idea as to what it does. Is it a meme coin? I know you've been requesting it a lot, and so has other people. So I'm a little bit curious myself. Usually I go on CoinMarketCap to like figure out what these cryptocurrencies are all about and what they're trying to accomplish. And you guys keep requesting it, so it makes me think maybe I should get into it. Payment systems, okay. And it had a crazy run. You're not invested, but you're thinking about it. Well, that's understandable. And you're right about ZBCN having a crazy run up. And now it had a pullback. Let's see. It looks like the run up, I mean, you got a little bit of a run up here in April, and then like towards the end of May, it just shot up, you know, got as high as like 0.007 pennies here. Has this thing, no, it's never been this high before, so that's good to see that this thing is it's trying to make higher highs here. Could this be a higher low? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But let's go ahead and do a fib retracement to figure out what the retracement levels might be on this thing here. Do I want to measure it from here, or let's measure it from like where it was back in early May. Okay. All right. So looks like you came into the golden pocket here. The golden pocket anywhere between 0.00403 pennies and 0.00477 pennies. Seems to be range bound between that. Looks like we got as high as 0.0051 pennies, a little bit above this 618 retracement here. But you're range bound right now in between these levels, and that makes sense. You just came down to the golden pocket, so this thing is respecting TA, or at least respecting the Fibonacci levels like a boss right now. Okay. If it does come down any lower, you might see it come down to this 0.382 level here at 0.0032 pennies. So maybe you could put some buy orders in, hoping that you get filled at that level. But I actually would take a nibble on this crypto. I mean, I have to do a more in-depth analysis here, but I would take a nibble because you're pretty much at the 0.5 retracement already. That's usually where these cryptos end up, these assets end up going after making a significant move up. They usually come to the 0.5 retracement, or at least the 0.61 retracement. If it's overly bullish, then it never goes down that low, and it ends up just maybe coming down to like the 0.786 retracement. But you already came down to the 0.78, the 0.618, and the 0.5. The only thing left here is the 0.382 and the 0.236. But I mean, you'd be lucky if you could get filled in at these levels here. Okay, especially on a higher time frame. Also, another thing you need to take into consideration that I was going to tell you in my Fibonacci video is on the higher time frames, like when you're looking at the weekly chart or the daily chart and you're doing these Fibonacci levels here, you're not the only person that did a Fibonacci on this asset and is using the daily time frame to figure out where the levels might be. You have to take into consideration that there are other traders and professional investors out there that are looking at these Fibonacci levels, and they're going to probably try to front run you. They know where the 0.382 is, and they know where the 0.5 is according to their measured move of their Fibonacci analysis here. And you might not actually get down as low as 0.382. In this case, you actually came down to the 0.5, but if this thing continues going to lower prices here towards that 0.382, don't be surprised if it never actually hits the 0.382. These are not exact levels. And then you also got human beings out there that want to try to outsmart you, and they're going to try to front run you, and they might buy when this thing gets to like maybe 0.0035 pennies, and you never actually get that 0.382 retracement. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, let's look at the 4-hour time frame, see if anything sticks out over there. 4-hour time frame, you are getting some support on the 200 moving average on this asset, 0.00409 pennies. So it looks like you are respecting the 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. I would actually, if you're interested in this asset, I would put in a buy right now. I'm not giving out financial advice, but if I was anxious to get in, or if I had to get into this asset, I would start a position right now, and I put a stop loss maybe right at 0.0335 and see if that holds. Okay, your stop loss would be below the 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame, and it would be below this low here. If you end up losing this low right over here, then this thing probably wants to go a little bit lower, and you might get that 0.382 retracement, or you might even get the 0.236 retracement. But you can strategize and not risk that much by putting your stop loss right below this low here. Okay, let's see, how low is that low? 0.0037 pennies. So yeah, I put the stop loss at like 0.0036 or 0.0035, and you're not risking that much. If you let's try to game plan this one out. If you were risking that much from where we are right now down to 0.036, you're risking about 12%. So you might lose 12% on your spot bags here. Obviously, you're hoping that this thing goes to higher prices, right? And if this thing goes to the 0.786 retracement right over here, you're gonna risk 12% to try to get 42%. That's like almost like a 4-to-1 risk-reward ratio. That's a pretty good risk-reward ratio. Anywhere above 3-to-1 is what we try to do as traders over here to stay profitable. So that way our profitable trades end up beating out our losing trades here. All right, let's see if I got any more requests here. Julian says the indicators don't matter because crypto's too volatile. Okay. All right. Well, if the indicators don't matter, you don't have to be on this channel because we use the indicators to try having ideas like where these things might go next. Okay. And it's just crazy how, you know, these indicators, these Fibonacci retracements, they play out almost all the time here. Okay. As to where these assets like to go. And why did we just stop right here? If these indicators don't matter, why do we stop going down when we hit the red line here? Okay. Why are we actually going sideways? Why are we actually respecting this red line here if the indicators don't matter? If the indicators don't matter, you can play that game and just treat it like you're gambling here, but we're not trying to gamble. We're trying to use indicators and probabilities to figure out where we could get in at lower prices, so we can then sell at higher prices. And that's the whole point of this, right? Buy low, sell high, and not the opposite. You don't want to sell. You don't want to sell low and then buy high. Right now, this asset looks like it's in a relative good position where you can buy low, put your stop loss right next to where you bought it at, and your reward is you get right back up and get that 40% gain. Or even a 50% gain on your investment here, and you're only risking 10%. This is all part of technical analysis. And if you don't like technical analysis, then you don't need to be on this channel, because that's what we do over here. We use technical analysis, we use strategies, trading strategies, and we use probabilities here to figure out what is a high reward, low risk situation to get ourselves into so we can make some money here. But if that's not for you, if you're not interested in making money, then you don't have to be on this channel. You can just keep it moving. Go on to the next live stream. Go watch some people do some TikTok dances. Alright, yeah, technical analysis for crypto. Because we don't really have that much to go on with crypto. We don't really have anything to work with besides technical analysis. There's not really any earnings reports or anything for these cryptos. Same thing with like looking at the currency for the Japanese yen. Like, is there an earnings report for the Japanese yen? No. But you could still do technical analysis on the Japanese yen. Is there an earnings report on gold? The price of gold? No. But you can still do technical analysis on gold, just like you can do technical analysis on crypto, just like you can do technical analysis on oil or the Japanese yen. So, if it's not for you, then it's not for you. There's no reason for you to try and argue. Because I'm just gonna keep it moving on with the other requests here. All right. So sounds like Julian, you just don't like crypto. Then you don't have to be in crypto. You can. We talked about gold earlier. Yep. So you're one of those gold guys, and crypto has no value. Okay, got it. Yep. All right, heard that story before. All right. Yep, yen has value only because people say it has value. Yep. But yet the Japanese currency was having trouble just a few months ago, and they were thinking about raising their interest rates just to provide some more value to the yen. All right, let's see. You're just taking over my chat here. Let's see. We'll talk to John here. John says, thanks, Damien. You're new to this and you're trying to learn, and you feel as though I am a humble teacher, and blessings. Blessings to you too as well, John. Appreciate that. Appreciate the good words here. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of choppiness in the markets here, Mark, and that's mainly because of what's going on in the Middle East. And then we're also, just to add more choppiness, We're also on edge with what the Federal Reserve is going to do next tomorrow with the interest rates. So we got that in the background as well. And then I think next week we have the inflation PCE report that we have to worry about. There's always something about every week, but I think the Middle East situation is really grabbing the market's attention right now. Let's see. Let's take a look at Aerodrome, because I know Aerodrome Finance was actually doing pretty well earlier this week. It was going up while the Middle East events were, like, it was going up this weekend while the whole situation in the Middle East was playing out. So that was very interesting to see. We're looking at the 4-hour time frame. Let's go to daily time frame. Daily time frame for Aerodrome Finance. You'll see that even though war broke out in the Middle East on Thursday here, we still went up 22% on Aerodrome. Then we went up another 13% on Friday. Saturday we actually calmed down a little bit, but then Sunday we went up again, and then Monday we went up again as well, and then we got rejected. What is this all about? These indicators, they mean nothing, right? Why did we go up to this red line and then come back down again? If these indicators don't mean anything on these assets for crypto, why did the 200-day moving average reject the price? I'll tell you why. Because other traders besides Julian pay attention to these indicators, and they're using those indicators to figure out when's a good time to actually sell their Aerodrome Finance. Somebody decided that they wanted to sell their Aerodrome Finance when it hit the 200-day moving average, and that's when the sell orders came in and brought the price down. So if you decide not to use it, that's at your own peril, because there are other people that are using these indicators, and they're making their decisions based on where the price goes according to these indicators. So you can do whatever you feel like you need to do, but other people are going to be using these indicators whether you decide to use them yourself or not. All right. Mark says that you try to play and you got handed a licking. Yeah, it's tough out there in the markets. It's very choppy. Sometimes it's just it's good to have a little bit of cash, and I have some extra cash myself. You could use this as, whenever you see the market dip, you could try to buy in at these lower prices if you're able to see lower prices. Or it might even be just time to just not do anything and just let things play out. That is also a strategy, to just be in cash and just watch from the sidelines if you're not ready for the choppiness. But here on Aerodrome, we got rejected off the 200-day moving average. We could use the 100-day, this blue line, as support if we do come down lower. I do a Fibonacci analysis from this, and we topped out at 87 cents, and we came from like 28 cents. If this is just going to be a shallow retracement, then this 0.786 level should hold as support for now. Don't be surprised if you lose the 0.786 level, the 75-cent level. If we come down to 65 cents, that's going to be where the 0.618 retracement is. And I think we already did that. We did that. No, we didn't do that. We threatened to do that. We almost came down to go to that level, but 0.618, 65 cents if you're trying to get in and get a good deal on Aerodrome. Even better deal, if you're able to. If you're lucky, you could probably get the 0.5 retracement at 58 cents. And I think that should be the level that you should be eyeballing for now. Anywhere between 58 to 65 cents are some good deals for Aerodrome Finance, in my opinion. All right. John, we kind of already talked about my short-term predictions for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is making higher lows here, but if we start violating those higher lows and we go down to the downside, if we lose $100,300 Bitcoin was the level line in the sand that we need to hold. If we lose that level, then we're going to probably see $97,000, anywhere between $93,000 to $97,000 Bitcoin, in my opinion, based on what the charts are showing. All right, let's see. Thank you, Guro, for letting Julian know, like, hey, we're just not gonna just talk about whatever Julian's talking about, because apparently he's just angry with the world and trying to make a point, and I'm not giving him any more attention. You guys can just let him know that we don't really care. We're not subscribing to his beliefs. So he needs to go start his own channel and talk about why indicators don't matter in crypto. Like, go make your own channel. You got your own channel. Go make your own live stream. Go talk about why indicators don't matter, and maybe you'll get a good following. I give you my blessing. Okay, go on your own channel. All right. Ross is in the chat. I see you, Ross. And then Guro's saying buy the dip. I mean, that's all you really can do for the most part is buy the dip, because it seems to be a winning strategy for most people is buying the dip. Yeah, John. We have a guy on the TikTok is just, I don't know. He thinks indicators don't matter, and he's trying to preach his beliefs. And it's like, man, that's not how I feel. And this is my channel, and we're gonna talk about what I want to talk about and what my viewers want to talk about. And if you want to get on your soapbox, then you need to go create your own channel and see how many people you can get to subscribe to your belief system there. But you're not going to do it on my channel. I'm just going to ignore him for now. All right, let's take a look at the Solana, and then we'll probably take a look at the XRP after that. Solana, I believe, is in the works, has an ETF in the works here, so I wouldn't be surprised if Solana starts getting some upside price action based off of that news, but we don't know when exactly that's going to happen, but I believe it's going to happen sometime this summer. So Solana right now just currently respecting the TA, respecting this 50-day moving average, this green line at $145. I believe I did Fibonacci analysis early on this. That 145 level is a crucial level, because if you're a fib trader, then you're also eyeballing that level as well, because that's like right where the 0.5 retracement's at. So once again, a lot of these cryptos I see, they're in their golden pockets, anywhere between 0.5 and 0.618. These should be areas that you should be considering buying if you're bullish on the asset. And if you're bullish on Solana, I would try to buy some Solana at these prices. It seems like they will not let Solana go below 140 bucks. Every time it gets down to 140 bucks, they buy it up. Somebody out there is buying up some Solana, and $140 level was the level that Solana was at back here in late April, and there was some sideways trading action. So you have a support, an area of support between 140 and 145 bucks. All right, so you can easily strategize and just say, hey, if I buy Solana $147, I can put my stop loss at 139, and if we lose 140, 139, then there might be something wrong with Solana, and we're going to probably come down a little bit lower than 140 bucks. We might come down to the 0.382 here, or the 0.236 level here, okay? But, you know, you can just hold on to those levels for later. For now, it seems like, you know, Solana is respecting the 0.5 and the 0.618. And if we go to higher prices here on Solana, you do have this 200-day moving average, which will act as resistance at 172 bucks. That's kind of confluent with the 0.786 level here at 168 bucks. So between 168, 172, if you're day trading Solana, you might get yourself paid, and you can put your sell orders over there, because there's going to be some other traders that are looking at that level, and they're going to put their sell orders in there. So you might as well try to sell, you know, when you get a chance, if you do see Solana between 168 and 172. Now, if Solana is able to go past that level, then yeah, we got to get past the level here on May 23rd when we saw Solana at 187 bucks. And if we get past that level, then, you know, we're continuing on making higher highs, and we're making the case for higher lows as well, and we're still in an uptrend. And there's a 1618 that says that Solana could get up to $244. So we'll see. We'll see. I think $244 is possible, because we have seen Solana be at that price already back in January, when we saw Solana as high as $295. So I still think Solana has the capability of doubling in price from where it is right now. And you would just be buying the dip right now if you can stomach the volatility here. D to Miami. You want me to look at Root? Is that your request? We'll take a look at Root after I look at XRP here. Thank you for the request. If I'm able to pull up on TradingView, I'll take a look at it. But if I have to go on Deck Screen or anything else, then I'm not going to do that. But yeah, let's look at XRP. XRP currently trading at $2.15, down 3.78%. I'll make this short and sweet. Right now, XRP is kind of bearish in my opinion. It's going to be bearish as long as you're below this 200-day moving average, the red line at $2.38. I mean, it's the same thing with Solana. Solana, you could also be bearish on Solana because it's below its 200-day moving average. But XRP was above the 200-day moving average for like almost the majority of 2025. We lost a little bit of it back in April. Then we came above it, and I was getting a little bit excited that this was, you know, this was the downtrend, and we're making an uptrend on XRP. But now we're actually making lower highs here on the daily time frame for XRP, and that's just not going to cut it. That's not good. You can't be bullish if you're making lower highs. But if XRP is able to get above that 200-day moving average, sitting at $2.38, and if we get past this last lower high that it made here at $2.65, then it could be off to the races on XRP. Because let me show you. I turn on the VRVP indicator here. The VRVP indicator is showing that if we get past 265, 262 on XRP, the volume drops off and there's not that much resistance until you get to like $3.12 here. And maybe that might be where XRP kind of settles down a little bit, takes a breather before it heads off to like higher prices after that. So I'm eyeballing a long-term target of $3.12 for XRP, which is basically a 50% gain from where it is right now. That's going to make a lot of XRP investors and traders happy. It'll definitely make the XRP army happy. But if we're not able to go to higher prices here on XRP, we could come revisit the lows here that we did back in April, where we saw XRP at $1.61. And we might even come down to where we traded sideways back here in late November of 2024, when we were at $1.45, $1.50 for XRP. So, you know, those would be the downside targets on XRP, in my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the Root now. Root USD. And John, is that a request for a crow? We can take a look at Crow if that's a request. All right, so we're looking at the Root network, down 6.62% today. And wow, this thing has seen better days, like most other cryptos out there. But the best days seems like it was like right around altcoin season in 2024 in December, when this thing was trading at like 5 cents. But man, this thing actually been higher than that. Wow. Even better days here in March of 2024. That was like kind of like another altcoin season. I remember that back in March of 2024. This thing got as high as 13 cents. So what are you doing here at less than a penny? Are you actually bottoming out here? I'm going to have to pull up the RSI to figure out if we're getting some bullish divergence here. Let me go ahead and turn on those other indicators now. Oh my god, he turned on more indicators. Oh my god. He's an indicator guy. He actually uses indicators and math and logic to make his decisions. Alright. So, obviously we're making lower lows on price. So let me just highlight that out here for you guys in case you're having a hard time seeing that. But, you know, you got your lower lows here on price, okay? Obviously, that's the reason why we came down to about a half a penny here on Root. However, are you making higher lows on the RSI? Well, I see a low here at like 23 on the RSI, and then a low here at 25. Technically, that counts as a higher low. You are getting a little bit of bullish divergence on this asset. So that's the first thing I need to see to get me to feel like this thing is actually bottoming out here. So that's good to see. That's the beginning of bottoming out, is getting some bullish divergence. Then you want to start making higher lows and higher highs. On the daily time frame, you can see that the lowest low here was at 0.0034 pennies on May 31st. And then it looks like you had a higher low here at 0.004 pennies on June 9th. Then another higher low here on June 13th, Friday the 13th, at 0.0047 pennies. So you are making higher lows on the daily time frame. I will give you that. Are you making higher highs? Okay. Higher highs is what's going to help you get out of this bottom situation. If you're not making higher highs, you're just what? You're just trading range bound. But in order for you to start, bottoming out here, you need to be making higher lows, and you also need to be making higher highs. The last significant high was like this candle wick, I guess you can call it here, at 0.0092 pennies on April 18th. Looks like you got to 0.0903 pennies on June 2nd and 0.0096 pennies on June 3rd. So yeah, you are making higher highs. You made a higher high than this last high right here in April. So you are doing what is necessary to get yourself out of this abysmal low price that you're at, where you're less than 1 penny here on the Root network. But you still got a lot of work to do, because there's a lot more higher highs that you need to beat out from back here in March and February. But this is a start. This is a start. This has a little bit of potential here. Okay? You can game plan things out now, where you can buy at a half a penny right here and put your stop loss at like 0.0035 pennies, right below this low here on June 1st. Okay, 0.0036 was the lowest low for the year, so you just put your stop loss at like 0.0035 pennies. And if this thing does come down to 0.035 pennies and goes lower, then there's probably something still wrong with this asset. Maybe you might be able to get it at lower prices, but this is not the bottom that you're looking for. Okay? So we're making progress, but we're still wary. We still need to be making more higher lows, higher highs. There's a lot more work that needs to be done on this asset. But I like what I'm seeing so far. Okay, that makes you feel better. I like what I'm seeing so far. You got the bullish divergence. You're making the higher lows. You're making the higher highs. Now you just got to keep making more higher highs. Stochastic RSI is in the middle ground here, so this thing could still has the juice and the rocket fuel to go to higher prices if it needs to make that higher high. And then I'll go ahead and turn the market cipher B as my other indicator here. You had a green dot that says that you should have been buying this on June 11th, which was what, last Wednesday. However, just keep in mind that after a green dot comes a red dot, right? After green comes red, after red comes green. So there will be a red dot at some point. You just don't know when, but when it comes in, if you're day trading this asset, I would try to sell when I see that red dot come in, because it probably means there's going to be a few more red days before you get another green dot that shows up. I see Kevin's in from Lakeland. You kind of come in just a little bit late. I was going to try to keep this live stream short and sweet here, Kevin. But you can watch the replay and see some of the assets that I did go over on the live stream. If you got one right now, go ahead and shoot away, and I'll try to see if I can fit it in. But I was planning on ending this live stream soon. I was going to talk about Crow, and then I'm going to finish off on Bitcoin here. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing with Root Network. We'll just have to be cautiously optimistic and cautiously bullish and keep our stop losses tight, because we don't know if we're catching the bottom or if we're going to be going to lower prices here. But you are starting to make some progress here. I will give you that on Root. So Not a bad one there, D2 Miami. Not too bad. Might be worth getting into. All right. Yeah, let's look at Crow, and then we'll finish off with Bitcoin. Look at Crow on Kraken. Sure. Excuse me. Crow. Currently trading at just under 9 pennies, 0.088 pennies on Kraken Exchange right now. And yeah, it looks like Crow bottom out here. Actually bottom out in like February. We had a higher low here on April. And are we making higher highs? We're kind of getting rejected off this level for some reason at like 11 pennies here. So let me just highlight that out. I'm not sure why that's the case, but I can see that on the candle wicks here. This thing keeps getting rejected at 11 pennies. So that's probably your first take profit target, just because of the market structure showing that 11 pennies is where sellers start clicking the sell button here. I don't really have that much data going further back on Crow. I might have to use a different chart here, because it looks like Kronos on Kraken Exchange started trading in January. So let me just see if I can find Kronos on Binance, because I know Binance should have good data. A lot of data for it's not on Binance? Wow, that's interesting. Take a look at it on Coinbase. Wow, okay, so I have previous chart work here on Kronos from just looking at Coinbase Exchange here. And I have highlighted that 11-cent area as well already. So this is your sell target on Kronos. Looks like we were remaining in the uptrend, but we lost that uptrend recently here. So this is a little bit concerning that we lost that uptrend. I mean, if Kronos continues going down to low prices, you might get some support at this red line that I highlighted here at roughly 8 pennies. I see some sideways trading action in that area. Let me just zoom out a little bit and I'll turn on the VRVP, see what the VRVP has to say. Okay, so we do have a point of control, which is very important. That point of control is at 10 pennies. And then the volume starts to drop off after that on the VRVP. You got a little bit of volume here, 11 pennies. But I think if you can break 11 pennies, then this thing could come up to like 13 or even 14.5 pennies, which is where this thing was trading at back in early January. So people who bought here in January, they probably want to sell and just break even. They're going to sell on you as soon as this thing gets up to like 14 pennies. And then you got a value area high here, like 16.5 pennies. And that's from even more people here that bought in December at like 16.5 pennies. They're probably going to click the sell button on you when this thing gets up there. So those are your upside targets. I mean, this thing could double in price like a lot of other cryptos out there. I think most of these cryptos can double in price, including Bitcoin, believe it or not. I think we could see a $200,000 Bitcoin later on this year, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. But yeah, just looking at the VRVP, if we do come down to lower prices here, then yeah, I think 8 pennies is your target. That's right now. You got a value area low. That white line is right at that level. So I've already charted this out. Like anywhere between 8 pennies to 11 pennies is basically the range that you're in. And if you lose 8 pennies, there's something wrong with this crypto. You want to stay out of this crypto. If you get above 11 pennies, then this thing could be off to the races. But this thing is probably going to bounce down between 8 pennies and 11 pennies. And most likely it wants to stay at 10 pennies because that's the point of control right now. Alright. Okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin on the way out. And I'll give you my final thoughts on Bitcoin and Federal Reserve here. So I don't think I've done the VRVP on Bitcoin here, but we can use the VRVP indicator to figure out, you know, where Bitcoin could go next here. And we do have a point of control, a high volume node. We're currently right where we're at, $104,000 Bitcoin. If you feel like you've seen $104,000 Bitcoin a lot of times here, it's because your mind's not playing tricks on you. This is where the majority of Bitcoin has been bought and sold over the last few days and weeks here. $104,000 Bitcoin just is a support zone. Okay, you could put your buy order in and just know that you're getting the price that a lot of other people have been getting at the last few weeks here. If you're lucky to get Bitcoin below $104,000, then by all means, try and do that. But if we lose, you know, $101,000 Bitcoin here, there's a drop in the VRVP, there's a gap in the VRVP, and you don't really get much support. I mean, there's something here that says $99,000 Bitcoin could temporarily be support, but you got a lot more volume right here at like $96,000, $97,000 Bitcoin. That's why I have this purple buy zone here. Anywhere between $93,000 to $97,000 Bitcoin is a strong support zone for Bitcoin if we lose $100,000 Bitcoin. If Bitcoin comes down, then I think you can put in some buy orders in and get some cheaper Bitcoin between $93,000 and $97,000 Bitcoin, because the VRVP says that's where a good amount of people have bought Bitcoin as well. And these people that bought Bitcoin in April, they're in profit right now. But if Bitcoin comes down, they're just going to be back to break even. Now, if Bitcoin goes below $93,000, then they're going to be, you know, probably sweating some bullets and get a little bit anxious to click that sell button. And if they do, then there's another gap here, and then that could send us down to like $88,000 Bitcoin, or the value area low here at $86,000 Bitcoin. But one buy zone at a time, okay? Right now, you're currently at your buy zone. I kind of got rid of this, but I did have a buy zone between $102,000 to $105,000 Bitcoin. This should be the price that you should be buying Bitcoin if you're bullish on Bitcoin and you want it to go to higher prices and you think it's going to higher prices, and you're figuring that we're probably not going to lose the $100,000 level here, okay? But if we do lose it, then yeah, we could come down here. We could come down here to $90,000 Bitcoin all over again, all right? You do have a value area high sitting here. It seems like $110,000 Bitcoin has been a tough nut to crack. But that is where your value area high is. And if Bitcoin gets above the value area high, then it's off to the races. And that's when we might see $120,000, $130,000 Bitcoin. But I don't know if we're going to see $120,000, $130,000 Bitcoin if they continue to keep interest rates where they're at, which is what they're planning on doing. The rumor is that they're not going to lower interest rates tomorrow, but they could surprise us. Who knows? They could surprise us and raise interest rates on us, and that would definitely send Bitcoin down to lower prices here. But the consensus for tomorrow is that they're just going to keep interest rates where they're at, so that probably means Bitcoin is going to probably stay where it's at. And I think the positive catalyst that we're looking for in crypto is we're looking for those trade deals to come in, and we're getting close to the deadline in like the first, second week of July. So that could cause us to go to $120,000, $130,000 Bitcoin, in my opinion. Not financial advice, just my opinion. I think that's when the stock market and crypto will outperform if we get those trade deals in. But who knows? Who knows? You know, it could actually go the other way. We could get no trade deals, and then Donald Trump's and the Trump administration slaps tariffs on everybody, crushes the economies all around the world, and brings Bitcoin down to lower prices, down to $90,000 after that, or $80,000. However, I think that will be a buying opportunity, because I don't think those world economies will sustain those tariffs for too long. I think they'll come to the table once they know that Trump is for real on those tariffs and is willing to sacrifice a little bit of action and upside on the stock market just to watch these other countries' economies go down in the toilets. And I think those countries will come to the table and they'll sign those trade deals with Donald Trump and the Trump administration, and then that's going to cause the price of Bitcoin to continue going up like it's been going up for the past couple of years now. All right, that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I think tomorrow I'm going to try to work on my Fibonacci video for John 3:16 over here. Appreciate that request. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow because of that. I can only do so much. I have other things I need to work on. I have a rental car company I gotta continue working on here. And I think that's going to take enough time out of my day where I won't be able to live stream tomorrow. But maybe be on the lookout for a live stream on Thursday or Friday. And you might see me around the same time. Try to do like an hour live stream. Maybe I might do 2-hour live stream if I keep getting requests. But for now, that's going to be it for today, guys. I will see you. We'll plan on seeing each other on Thursday. Okay, guys? Take care.